Welcome back everyone to another video, and in this video we'll be discussing about the loop control statements we have in Python. Now previously we have discussed about the various kind of loops we have in Python, namely the for loop and the while loop. Today we'll be diving a little bit more deeper. So let's start with the break statement. What is a break statement? You can think of the break statement as an emergency exit for your loop. So what happens is, suppose you have a for loop over here with some conditions, and like how many times the loop will run and all. And let's say inside this for loop, you also have an if condition. Okay, now in this if condition, if the condition is true, then you run a break statement. So what will happen is it will immediately terminate the loop completely. So if the condition is satisfied over here, the break statement will follow, and when the break statement is executed, the loop will be terminated, and the next line of code which you have, like let's say a print statement over here, will be executed. Okay, this is the break statement. So let's see an example, like a working example of how it actually works. So let's write the code for the break statement. Let's take an example. Suppose we have a list of numbers. Let's say 1, comma 8, comma 3, comma 7, comma 5, comma 2, comma, and let's say 9. So this is our list of numbers. List of numbers. Then let's say we have a flag variable called founded, and by default it is initialized to false. Okay, so this is our flag variable. Next, what we'll be doing is we'll be running a for loop. So for num in numbers, and then let's say we'll be printing each number. So checking num, like that. And so what we'll be doing after this is we'll be checking a condition. So we'll be using the if statement. So let's say we have if the number, and let's say if it is equals to 5, then we'll first update the flag variable. So found it, that will be equals to true. Then we'll display a message on the screen. So found it, and we'll be breaking the loop. So how will we be breaking this? We'll be using the break statement. Done. After this, we'll display a message on the screen, but this message will be outside the loop. So we'll say loop finished, right? Now what is actually happening over here is we are doing what we say as looping through this list called numbers. Then we are printing each number over here. After that, this is our condition. We are checking that if num is equals to 5. Done. If it is true, then we are updating the flag variable over here. After that, we are displaying a message on the screen over here. Then we are breaking the loop. So what this break statement does is, after it has reached this number 5, like over here, it will completely break the loop. It will not display, or it will not check these two numbers over here, and it will directly print this, the print statement over here. So let's run this. Over here, and now if you check over here, it says checking 1, it's not equals to 5, 8, 3, 7. it has like this over here, and then at last it has reached 5 over here. So it says checking 5 because it's above the condition, this print statement. Then it it goes to this print statement. It first updates the value, then goes to this print statement and display this message, and then it completely breaks this. So the 2 and 9 over here, which you're seeing over here, is not checked, and then the loop finished statement over here, which is outside the loop, is displayed. So this is how you can use the break statement in your loops. You can also use this with while loop as well. Now let's start with the continue statement. Now, but before I start, there's something you should know. Because of Diwali, I'm thinking of giving you all these notes over here in the form of a PDF as well as the code. So this will help you in the long run. Now it's better to take notes on the go, but there may be some people who are just like me, lazy and all. So for them, I guess I need to upload this on GitHub. So the link will be in the description, so you can check it out. Now, what is the continue statement? Let me give you an analogy for this. Suppose you are watching a video on YouTube and you don't have a YouTube premium subscription like us, okay? So YouTube will be showing ads, and in some ads there is something called a skip ad button, right? Continue statement is just like that skip button. So if you think of the break statement as an emergency exit, continue is more like a skip button. So what actually happens is, um, suppose there is a for loop, okay, and similarly you have a condition over here. So when this condition is satisfied, or when this condition is true, and instead of break you have used the continue statement, so what will happen is it will skip that iteration. So if you have a list, let's say 1 2 3 4, and let's say the condition is if the, let's say the number is equals to 3, so the result will be 1 2 and 4. The number 3 will completely be omitted or skipped, okay, but the loop will still run. So the break statement, what it does is it actually terminates the loop completely, but the continue statement just skips that particular iteration and goes to the next iteration. Okay, so instead of just giving all this lectures and all, it's better to like code. So let's start the coding. Let's say I want to write the code to print um, only the odd numbers. So let's say I have a loop for I range, let's say 1 comma 11, and let's say for the condition that if a number is even or not, it is checking the number is even. For that I have to use an if statement, and you can, as you can see over here, Gemini is already giving the code, but let's write it instead of using Gemini. So if this condition is true, just continue it, and over here found an odd number, let's say I, okay, and after this let's say print loop finished. So what I've actually done over here is I have a loop which runs from 1 to 11. It is excluding 11, so 1 to 10 including both of them, and it checks if I mod 2, so the number mod 2 is equals to 0. So it checks if the number is even. If the number is even, we are skipping that number. So 1, then 3, then 5, like that. So we are completely skipping that. And if this condition is not true. So if it is false, then we are running this statement, this displaying this print statement. And after we have completed this whole loop, it will display this one, this loop finished statement. So in this whole code over here, at no point we are terminating the loop. What we are doing is we are skipping certain iterations. So loop isn't terminated. However, some iterations are skipped. Okay, so let's run this first. So what actually happened over here is, you can see over here, 1 is an odd number, 3, 5, 7, 9. 10 is an even number, so it has been skipped. And since we are running from 1 to 11, so 11 is excluded. If you know how the range function works, we will be discussing about functions in the next videos, I guess. So just bear with me for this one. So as you can see over here, it printed 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. And during this process, the loop hasn't been terminated. The loop has completely, like, it did all the work, and at the end we have got this loop finished. So the whole list, or the whole range over here, or the whole loop has been totally be completed instead of being terminated. Terminated means, suppose you have a list over here and you're running a for loop on this list, and due to a particular condition, if it is true, you have two ways, like you have two different paths: break and continue. If you use the break, the loop will be terminated, or it will stop at that particular point. Like, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the list. So if the number is 3, if this condition is num equals to 3, if this condition is true, okay, then it will stop at 3, and this 4 or 5, this 2 will not be printed. The loop will terminate over here, that loop will stop over here, and the next part of the loop, like what is outside the loop, okay, what is outside the loop will be printed. Now you have to keep one more thing in mind. If you're using nested loops, okay, if you're using nested loops, I think it would be better to show it in here. Yeah, suppose you have a for loop and you have another for loop like this, and you have break this loop. So this loop will be terminated at the point you have wished for it to break or to terminate, but this loop will not be terminated. Remember this, that break statement only works for this particular loop, not for this. Similarly, if you have a loop with, like, you have only one loop and you use the break statement, this loop will only be terminated, and since there are no other external loops, it will just go to the next part of the code, or next line of the code, which is outside the loop. So the break statement only just terminates a loop and goes outside of the loop and print only those statements, okay, while continue, on the other hand, it just skips the iteration. Okay, lastly we have over here the break statement and continue statement. Just a simple difference over here. For break statement, it terminates the entire loop immediately, while for the continue, it just terminates the current iteration, or what you call as skipping. Okay, over here the execution, it jumps outside the loop, while over here it jumps to the next iteration. Okay, this is what actually happens. So yeah, this is everything that you need to know. So if you like this video, hit the like button, and if you're new to my channel, hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon so you never miss an update. And I'll see you next time.